Liverpool bounced back with a 3-1 win against Milan away, first Champions League match of the Arne era. And after the bad performance, I wouldn't say bad performance, but after the bad result that they got against Nottingham Forest in the Premier League over the weekend, I think this is a perfect way to bounce back. And I think for all of the Liverpool supporters who said that Arne got the tactics wrong in their last Premier League match, I don't think that was the case. I think it really just comes down to a lot of bad decisions in the final third. That final ball or that final decision to either play a pass or take a shot was just completely off. However, in this match, those are the exact problems that they fixed, which is why I think Liverpool supporters should be happy. In this match, I think it actually benefited Arne a lot more, just because Milan was obviously not going to sit in a low block. They were going to press higher up the field. And I think the biggest player that gets overlooked to start the build-up or start the attack for Liverpool, and I think he's the key to unlocking a high press or a mid-block, Virgil van Dijk. Anytime he gets the ball with just a little bit of space, not only can he find the passes that breaks lines in the midfield, but he can also play those long diagonals that switches it to the weak side, and then Liverpool can get out that way. The next part, and this is something that in my coaching I say to my teams all the time, set pieces will either lose you the game or they'll win you the game. The more you focus on set pieces, with a crazy stat of something like around 30% of all goals scored come from set pieces, I really find it surprising when teams are so bad at defending them. AC Milan in the first 3 minutes were fantastic on the transition, winning all of the 50-50 balls, led to two really good opportunities. One of them was offsides. One led to the goal that Christian Pulisic scored. However, after that, Liverpool get two set pieces. Both get served around the area of the 6. Really bad defending and marking from the Milan players. Really bad defending from Milan's goalkeeper. And if you take out the third goal of Liverpool, the final score ends up being 2-1 thanks to two set pieces that Liverpool scored. So obviously later on, Szoboszlai scores the third goal off the transition. Really good play from Liverpool. The space is opened up quite a bit a little later in the game. Milan is chasing it a little bit more, which means they're leaving themselves exposed. But I do think we need to stress the importance of set pieces and how they can win you the game, because in this case specifically, they won Liverpool the match. One of the other tactics that I really like from Arne is he likes to leave his forwards higher up the field, specifically in the press. Even when the ball gets played into the midfield, he still leaves them a little bit higher. So as soon as they win the ball, he trusts those midfielders to be able to find the forwards. And anytime there's a transition moment with Liverpool on the ball facing forward, you're almost going to be at a disadvantage because Liverpool's going to end up being 4 versus 3 or 4 versus 2, and that's how they're going to get a lot of opportunities to score. And if you watch the third goal, that's exactly what happened. It's a huge risk that Liverpool takes, I think, just because they're so confident in the midfield press, and also the fact that anything happens, they have Virgil van Dijk at the back to save the day. You can leave 3 players up top, and that's going to give you the advantage on the transition. So some good players and some bad players for Liverpool. Good players, Virgil van Dijk, like I said, I think he's the key to everything. I think his ability on the ball to find passes, to play those long diagonals, but also defensively and in the air, I mean, he's just such a well-rounded player that Liverpool can use him in 3 or 4 different areas of their playing style, and he's going to allow them to win the match. I also thought Salah played a really good game. I thought he was extremely dangerous, and unfortunately for him, it just wasn't his day. He was quite unlucky with the finish. He hit the crossbar twice in situations where, honestly, if he hits that ball just 3 inches lower, it hits the crossbar and it goes in. Finally, another player that surprised me with how confident he was on the ball and on the dribble, Cody Gakpo. I think one of his biggest criticisms is that he's always super inconsistent. There's games where I think he's the best player on the pitch. He comes on as a sub and he brings a little bit of spark to Liverpool. Today, as a starter, I thought he did that really well. I thought he picked the right moments to dribble, get past 2 or 3 players, and then play the ball out wide or create an opportunity for Liverpool. So Cody Gakpo, a surprising selection to be the starter, just considering how good Luis Diaz has been. I thought he played a fantastic game, and I think this is going to give him more opportunities to start when they go back to the Premier League. Not all is great as far as performances, although as a team they did really well. I thought there was 2 players specifically who just pretty much disappointed me when I've expected better. The first one is Jota. Jota, I thought, played really bad. I thought he was a bit selfish. He wasn't making the right decisions. There was a lot of opportunities where all he had to do was play a pass across the box for a tap-in, and he decided to go and finish it himself, which is not a problem. However, he wasn't clinical. He missed the opportunity. 1 or 2 of them, he missed the goal entirely. And I just thought he looked a little bit selfish, didn't look as well connected with Salah, Szoboszlai, and Cody Gakpo up front. And like I said, I think Jota is typically one of the players that's the most consistent. You know exactly what you're going to get out of him, and typically it's a pretty good performance. The other one, Darwin Núñez, back to the old days. Honestly, I think the man is a little bit rattled that he's lost his starting position just because he came back to the preseason a little later. Arne Slot went with Jota as the starter. And so Darwin Nunez, the last few matches that he's come on, I think he's just trying to do a little bit too much. I think he's threatened by the fact that he hasn't gotten as much playing time. Somebody else is playing in his position. So every time he goes on for the short 15, 20 minutes that he plays, he feels like he has to do a little bit more. He has to score a goal. He has to get on the score sheet. And I think it's led to a lot of bad decisions, taking shots off balance, not waiting for the right play to develop, rushing into an opportunity. And I think ultimately it's going to set him further back. And if I was Arne Slot, based on his performance in this match, I wouldn't be very happy with where he's at. And that's the unfortunate part for a striker, is that once your confidence is a little bit lower, you start losing your form, you start going on a drought. And I think Arne Slot needs to remind him that he just needs to do his part for the team, for the minutes that he gets, wait for his opportunity. But right now, he just needs to be patient. He needs to play well for the team, and he needs to get back towards where he was at the end of last season. So overall, I think this was a match that benefited Arne Slot's tactics. I think a team that plays high to a mid block and doesn't really press in the right areas is not going to be successful against Liverpool, just because Liverpool has the right players to unlock that type of defense. Like I said in one of my previous videos, I think the key to beating Liverpool, or to being a little bit more successful, especially if you don't have the same amount of technical quality and natural ability, you have to play in a low block, and you have to wait for the transition when they push their numbers up. So to all the Liverpool fans, especially the ones that were very upset after last match, the tactics, the decisions, the player performances, they fixed the exact mistakes that you guys were so unhappy about. So with that being said, I think you should be happy. I think it was a great performance. And I think in the first 5 matches of the Arne Slot era, 4 wins and 1 loss is extremely positive and a great start to your Champions League season. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below.